Strip the bolts on him. Shoulda never sent him to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners. Tech cursive on the Jets, he was
all right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Wednesday, April 23rd. Game 2 of the Celtics round 1 matchup with the Magic, and the Celtics get the 109-100 win. Another close matchup, another low-scoring matchup, which I do think ultimately is a credit to the Magic, but we're gonna kind of get into what was going on in this game. No JT tonight, the wrist injury, he missed the game. Jaylen Brown, monster night in his absence, 36, 10, and 5. We're going to talk all about that. Before we do that, I'll bring you on in here. Chud, how are you feeling tonight? What did you think of the game? What are we feeling?
Feeling good. I mean, that's playoff basketball. Starting to feel it a little bit more. These are battles. It's good to go right into that mode, right into the mud, and come out with a solid win at the same time. The heart rate never got too high in this one. So the more playoff games we can get away with doing that, the better. Feeling pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, this game to me honestly kind of felt like I'm almost thinking of like a yo-yo where it's just like we'd get up kind of by a lot. They'd sort of come back and make this, like we'd go on a run and I'd be like, all right, this is it. And then they kind of come back. It was one of those games we talked about all year where Celtics had to win it a couple times. But to me, it didn't really feel like the Magic's comeback was because it was almost like we were just letting them do it. I don't know if that's like too cocky, like too arrogant or whatever to say, but it's just like, it felt like every time the Magic kind of came back, it was just sort of like us being like, oh, shit, all right, cut it down to 6. All right, time to go back up. And then we go back up by like 15. Then it would just sort of be 15-10 for a bit. Just kind of went back and forth. We saw a lot of the same with the first game. It's really just Paolo and Franz scoring for them. I know that Wendell I think he had like 16 points. He had like a decent game too, but they can't really score. But the thing that worries me, and this is something we can get into more, as we kind of break down the rest of the game, but it worries me that we let the games be this close, because to me, a 109-100 game is exactly what the Magic would kind of be hoping for. And game 1 was a little bit similar, where we sort of got dragged into the mud a little bit. A lot of mud in this game. We're going to get into the muck of it too. But I mean, let's just start there. Do you think like the fact that we're scoring this low, is this a credit to what the Magic are doing? Is this no Tatum tonight, or game 1 we didn't score? I think we had 113 in game 1. What's it like? Is the scoring? What is it? I don't know. What is it? A combination of a couple of things, or?
Yeah, I mean, no worries at all. I mean, I like
I'm not worried. I don't want to speak. It's not like I'm worried. It's just like, to me, it's like, why haven't we busted out and had this big offensive game yet?
I mean, I think this is the playoffs. The Magic are a really, really good defensive team. Obviously, tonight we didn't have our best player, and I think you have to adjust for pace. These games are just slowing to a crawl. In the first game, obviously we only scored 103 points, but if you adjust for pace, our offensive rating was still very, very high. So a lot of it is just a slower game, fewer possessions in general. Tonight, a lot of it just, again, not making the threes. We talked about this is what the Magic want to do. They basically leaned into that strategy of, we're just going to be physical as shit with you. We're going to foul you every time and basically tell the refs, hey, you can't call it every single time. We'll live with the fouls and take away the threes. That's exactly what they did, and I think that's part of staying in it. You don't see those big runs because we're not getting a lot of three-pointers. We're going to the foul lines. We're scoring points when we want to. We're getting to the rim. We're playing bully ball, and they're just refusing to collapse, and the threes just aren't there for us. And I think that's a big part of limiting us and limiting those giant runs that you just can't recover from. There were obviously a lot of runs in this game, but it felt like it was more the Celtics remembering that's how the Magic play and how we have to play. So it's a little out of character for us, but again, I think this is really good for us to face the second best defense in the league right out of the gate like this, that's pushing us around, that's fouling the shit out of us and making us work really, really hard, where we've talked about some teams that are overall better than the Magic, but they just don't make us work nearly this hard. So I think more than anything, it's a credit to them, and they're doing just enough on offense to not go away. There was a ton of times tonight where, like you said, it felt like, okay, here's the run, but you've got to give them a ton of credit. They just would not go away.
Yeah, well, I want to kind of touch on a few things before we get into kind of how the Magic are keeping it close there. You're right. Celtics only shot 37 threes tonight. I feel like that's kind of low. Yeah. 12 for 37, dude. They're kind of floating with 32% is almost like It's kind of like a little like Mason-Dixon line for them, but they're way worse after they get below 32%. So they creep barely above it today, 32.4%. But the Magic were limiting the threes, and in the end, we weren't really hitting a whole lot of them. So that was definitely a part of it. I think 37. What did we shoot? I forget what we were averaging
the same as game one. Average for the season was definitely in the mid 40s.
Yeah.
Mid to high. I think it was like 48, 49 a game.
Yeah. I will say, too, you mentioned the physicality. I do think that we kind of came out tonight with a little bit more purpose on matching that physicality. Yeah. You did say, too, like the Magic kind of dared the refs not to call it. I think tonight the refs were kind of daring the Magic to keep fouling and to keep playing. They were because just the free throw difference was like pretty massive between the two teams. But it never felt to me like it was unfair. We talked a little bit before the show started where I was saying it's like, to me, I think the NBA, especially in the regular season, probably lets kind of a team like the Magic play that physical play. If it makes the team uncomfortable, whatever, if it costs them a game in the regular season, whatever. But I think once it gets to the playoffs, like they let it kind of go in game one. I think tonight they're sort of, I don't know, maybe just sort of being like, all right, at some point, the Magic, you have to just beat the Celtics talent-wise, not just foul every single time. No one really wants to see that. And I think tonight the refs were pretty close to calling almost every single thing. Now, obviously, they can't do it every single time, but it felt like a little bit of a correction on the refs' part for this game, which I think maybe helped us out too. When you look at the free throws we made and the shots they made, that's kind of where the difference of this game was. For a little bit, you're wondering the Magic have made so many more shots than us. How are we tied or winning? And that's what it was from the line. But I didn't really have a problem with it.
Halftime is absurd for a team, the Celtics, that generate, I think, the lowest free throw volume.
Yeah, we were. But sorry, go ahead. I mean, we're probably both going to say the same point there.
Yeah, no, and it's like you said, they were just calling them. I think it was, you see the classic kind of back and forth where there will be stretches where it's really physical and they're letting them play, and then they'll just kind of adjust, and it's like, oh, the refs need to take back control of the game, and then they're calling it kind of ticky-tacky for a few minutes, and it's like waffling back and forth, and I think it's the inconsistency that drives players the craziest. I think they'd rather either let it all go, call it super tight, just be consistent so we can adjust, but when they're kind of changing it up throughout the game, and then it's like, stop the play, guys get in each other's face, now we got to call it tight for the next few minutes. Oh, Porzingis is bleeding all over the court. Oh, now we got to call it tight again for a few minutes. So it's like, that's the stuff that did you off. But overall, I thought tonight a lot of calls, but mostly consistent.
I think we can kind of wrap up the officiating because I think there's a lot of other stuff to get into. But I did want to mention that I thought with the whole Caldwell Pope and Horford kind of scuffle there, I'm glad that they just called that as just like a nothing. As just like the regular foul was play on. I kind of hated the fact they even reviewed it. It was great how quickly Drew and Joe grabbed Al and just like, it's like they saw him go down and saw the look and they were there like as soon as he got up. And I think whenever that happens, it kind of escalates things anyway or whatever. But I don't know. I thought that was, to me, that's just totally fine. It kind of annoyed me that they went and reviewed that because it kind of takes this like, I don't know, cool playoff moment and it kind of softens it up a little bit. But I don't know.
I think I assume the refs just didn't really get a good look at it. It was kind of behind the play. It was away from the ball. Didn't get a great look.
They just wanted to make sure that they'd missed something.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, KCP's got this thing going, and they saw how pissed Al looks, who's not usually pissed. So I was like, oh, we don't want to. If there was something there, like a cheap shot, we don't want to just miss it. So I think it's sorry, but it did seem like they just slowed the game down a lot in general. And again, I think part of it, the Magic, I'm sure they were annoyed with the whistle and how many fouls they got called for. But at the same time, like we said, they kind of just have to play like this and muck it up. And if they're calling it, again, like, they don't want to give up 35 free throws or whatever we shot. But, hey, that's the Celtics aren't getting out in transition. The Celtics aren't shooting threes. The Celtics aren't moving the ball. The crowd's not getting into it as much. So it's like kind of a natural repellent against going on a big run. Even if it's us scoring free throws, it's still at the line. Once in a while you miss.
That's true. Yeah, how many of those possessions would have turned into like decent, clean looking threes otherwise?
It's just hard to get in a good rhythm, hard to get a lot of momentum when you're playing like that and you're just stopping every time down the floor. Yeah,
that's good. That's a good point. What else do you want to kind of get into? I think let's talk a little bit about Jaylen. I thought massive night for him. No Tatum, obviously. He had 12 first quarter points. Finished the game with, I think, 36, 10, and 5, I think was his stat line. So pretty monster night for him. Love to see that. The knee injury, obviously, is something everyone's been talking about. But the moment that it's kind of like someone's got to step up, he does exactly that. So, I mean, what else can you really – I mean there's plenty to say. I was going to say, what else can you say about Jaylen? But I feel like we could talk for like 20 minutes about the
No
guy.
doubt. No, I mean, this was vintage Jaylen. This is what you want to see. And it feels like we haven't seen it in a while because it feels like it has been since earlier than season. But, I mean, you got to give him credit. There was a little bit of talk, I think, nothing too crazy, but some murmurs about not liking the way he handled the end of the season. But, hey, credit to him. He said it was his decision, the way he handled his body. And hard to have any gripes with it tonight. That knee looked damn good to me. And like I said, came out as the hot start, which we needed without Tatum. I felt like he got us going. And then he just played in and out of the game. That third quarter, he was unreal, took over. And it was, again, the entire Jaylen finishing package on display. He was going hard to the rim for dunks.
Do everything.
He was making crazy layups. That one, like, teardrop finger roll he had the pull-up off the dribble, moon ball. He had the fadeaway. He was, I think, 4 of 4
Are you talking about the fourth quarter? He had that one, like, mid-range jump shot that went so high in the air.
Yeah, that one was in the fourth. But it was the third quarter. He had like 17 points or something. That's where he was like getting to the basket and just finishing a different crazy finish every single time. He was getting fired up. Thought there should have been some and ones. Shocker. And then he had that great steal in transition, run out for the dunk, which was another time where I felt like the Celtics were just about to blow the absolute lid off that place. But it got close, and then he made the big shots down the stretch, 2 in the fourth quarter, hit a clutch 3, that crazy shot you mentioned. And again, to just finish with 36, 10, and 5, to do it on 12 of 19 shooting, it's crazy.
Very efficient.
And again, feels like even when he's had good games lately, I can't remember the last time he actually shot that well from 3. He was 4 of 4 at one point. He might have missed one later or something, but still, to just have the 3-point fall in and stepping into it, burying him with confidence, so good to see hitting that one in the clutch. So again, nothing we don't expect, but we just haven't seen in a while. So, and the first playoff game since Jaylen's rookie year that he's played without Tatum. So that was obviously a very, very different Jaylen Brown. So essentially, I would say, really his first playoff game since because that rookie year he barely even played. So really his first playoff game without Tatum, and he looked every bit the number one guy with those.
And he took it on right away. I mean, the first bucket was a 3, just a pull-up 3, which honestly to me like isn't really his shot, but in that moment, taking it and obviously hitting it is great. But it's like, so once you see that, you're sort of like, okay, all right, here we go. We got something going here. So
he was awesome. Another guy, like you said, he rides 12 the occasion with the physicality. He went out and met their physical when they were being physical with us. He was out there saying, "Hey, if this is how they're going to call it, let's go." And like I said, he was kind of the one who made that realization. It's like, hey, they're not doubling, they're not helping, they're switching, and they're living with it. I can get this matchup on me. I can take my guy to the rack every single time, and that's what he was doing. That's why he was so efficient, because there was a ton of bully ball. When the game got physical, he was the most physical guy on the floor. He was the biggest bully, and that's why he had a ton of those crazy finishes, and just such a good reminder of what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, the water exercises, like, if you can do that shit underwater, you can fucking bully the shit out of someone on the basketball court. There's no doubt about that.
And he was.
And he was. All right, I think, what else? We got the Porzingis absolutely gushing blood. The play itself, to me, it looked reckless, but at first I think I tweeted right away, dirty play, fuck that guy, right? But I think looking at it after, it was like, well, you got to do that.
Yeah.
I think it was like a reckless play, not dirty. Like they were saying, like when you're just kind of flailing around, whatever, it happens. What is with Porzingis, though? He was absolutely leaking from that shot. I mean, that's like a thin part of your head, I guess. Like he said, it just looked a lot worse. Got 5 stitches out of it. Yeah. Came back and hit the free throws so he could come back in the game. I didn't understand in the moment that he had to be back to hit the free throws. I thought he was just going to come back and play the rest of the game, like with that much of his blood just still all over him. I was like, this is the sickest moment I think I got. This since like the Kevin Garnett knuckle push-ups was like the most like intense I felt in like a Celtics game. I was like, holy fucking shit. Like I'm ready to like ride or die for this. So But so he got cleaned up, came back afterwards. He obviously had to go clean it up a little bit. He was covered in his own blood. But I did think even early on in the game, I think he was a guy we talked about last episode about needing to kind of step it up physically. Like it's kind of like his weakness has been teams kind of pushing him around. I thought he was doing pretty well with that early. He had a lot of early rebounds. He had some big rebounds late in the game too. I think he rose to the occasion, and that's kind of been the thing with Porzingis, is making sure that he can match that physicality. I thought tonight he did. This is the second time in like 3 weeks he's left the game fucking gushing blood and come back. Like he's earning his stripes. This was like a great Celtics moment. Like this is like we get there, we win. This is a champion DVD moment. Like I saw these 2 pictures. They're almost identical, like spot one of him on the ground with his eyes closed, busted open, and the next one with his eyes open. It's like, oh shit! Like they may have just awoken the beast. What do you think of Porzingis tonight?
Yeah, so obviously the bloody viral moment will get all the attention, but I thought, like you said, it was representative of how he played the whole night. You could tell, even from the first few minutes, he was just on another level physically, with his aggression, with his intensity, than he was in Game 1, where it felt like he was not all there. Much more active on both ends. He, big 10 rebounds on the glass. We talked about how we need him to be active down there. A couple more steals, a couple more blocks. It just felt like he was exposing mismatches so more. I mean, he was a big part of that free throw parade. Every time there was a little guy on them, he was drop stepping, going up, mostly getting the call or finishing around the rim. I think he shot double-digit free throws in the first half. So, again, if they're going to play us like this, that's what you need. You need Porzingis to be abusing those mismatches. And anytime it was a guard on him or even some of their forwards, it was automatic catch. He was working. Tonight he was getting to that elbow. He was getting the post up. He was getting the ball in his spots, doing the work, making that dribble and deciding, hey, if they're going to be this physical, I'm a fucking giant. I could use my legs. And sometimes that means you get drilled with a stray elbow, but a lot of times you're the one dishing out the pain. And, the refs are going to call it. So I don't know the final tally, but he got a bunch of free throws tonight. Really still an off shooting night. He missed a few of those shots, and we still haven't had the game where Kristaps is hitting from the 3-point line, which he's been doing all season long, the best 3-point shooting season of his career. That hasn't been there at all. So I think that's another thing too, where the Celtics offense, it feels like we're there's more there, and we haven't really shot well, and he's a big part of that. Where we've seen some games recently where he's hitting 6-8 threes. That really has not been there at all. And again, credit to the Magic, because a lot of part of that is how they're playing us, how they are switching, taking that away. But you're seeing even too, once he's active at the beginning of the game, they're able to use that all night, because then Porzingis is out on the perimeter. The Magic are playing with one big guy a lot of the time, Wendell Carter Jr. They're pulling him out there. That's when those driving lanes open up. They have no rim protector inside. You saw Pritchard using his strength, bullying them for layups. You saw Holiday doing it. Obviously, Jaylen Brown, Derek did it a couple times. When there's no rim protector down there, all of those guys we have are bullies, and they may not be tall, but we've talked about how good Pritchard is using his body to create that space. There's no center down there to help. Forget it. He's just going to stick his ass right in the guard's chest, push him 3 feet back, and make a layup. You saw it time and again. A lot of that is just due to Porzingis and the spacing he creates once he's engaged in the game like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sets up pretty much everything. This is exact, and you want to kind of. I had a point earlier on when you were talking about just like Porzingis hasn't really had. He had 20 points tonight. 10 of those were free throws. So almost half his points were free throws. He did it that one stretch where he hit the 2 dunks back to back, like got the crowd pumped up. This isn't meant to knock him, but it's more of the point that it's like I still don't even think we've seen the Celtics offense at its absolute best. Sure. And you're right. That's probably maybe some of what the Magic is doing. I think tonight JT being out kind of like screws a little bit of that up anyway. But it's like, to me, I'm feeling pretty good as a Celtics fan because we're up 2-0 going, we did what we had to do, and we didn't play really that well, at least offensively. Again, defensively, we've held them to like right around we need to hold them, but we haven't had we had the 30-point night from JB tonight, but last game there was really no one that jumped off the page. Derek, well, yeah, I was going to say Derek White, obviously a little bit, but it's like none of, we haven't really played what we can do on offense, and maybe that's the Magic, maybe that's just us, but you feel good about it, and guys still being able to make an impact without that scoring, I think is a big thing. Obviously, Porzingis, even with 10 of those points coming from the free throw line, he brought energy in spades to the matchup. Derek White hit some super clutch threes. Drew Holiday too. He had kind of like a stereotypical Drew Holiday kind of night tonight. He finished with 11 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He had a block too. He's just kind of everywhere too. He's making it difficult for guys on defense. I do think that Paolo was going a little bit at him a little bit more than he did in Game 1. I think he kind of realized maybe he needs to sort of use his body more against him, even though Drew's a great, obviously strong defender. But it's just guys are still making themselves do enough, obviously, to win, but we haven't really had the scoring. And so it's kind of interesting if there will be a game, if the Celtics will be able to kind of break loose against this team and do that. I'm kind of interested to see if they can do it, or if this is just going to be rock fight. We just got to win, 4 games the hard way, which I'm fine with too.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about Derek White, hero of Game 1 with 30 points, couldn't miss. Tonight, he could not make a shot. I mean, he was absolutely brutal. Then hits the back-to-back clutch threes in the fourth quarter. It's
what he does, dude.
Exactly. It's there when you need it. Pritchard had some clutch shots again for the second straight night. He was big. But again, I think a lot of those things you're saying to me are a positive that we're facing such a good defense that's locking it up and that's making us work this hard, and we're still not really playing that great, and we're still pulling out these pretty comfortable wins. Where I mean, I don't know what the final was tonight. We won by 9, but like I said,
100.
They never really have me sweating in either game. So I think it's good that you're kind of working hard. These feel like playoff games. Obviously, the opponent's a little overmatched, but they're rising to the occasion. It feels like it's a bit of a coming out party for Paolo with the way he's playing. And like I said, they're just not going away.
Yeah.
You look at a lot of these other playoff matchups, there's some blowouts, there's some easy ones. Nothing easy, I think is not a bad thing as long as we're winning the game. So a tough 4-0 sweep, gentleman's sweep in this series, I think would be really good to build on, and probably better than playing some true shit bum team that could have got in the Bulls or the Hawks, where we would just beat them like 140 to 110 and not really have to engage the way we are in this series.
Yeah, I mean, this team definitely stands out from any of the other playing teams for sure. Yeah, it's a good matchup. I'm trying to look at my notes here if I got anything. Oh, I did. Well, I don't know if you have anything like specifically game related. I have a couple like outside peripheral type things. If you had anyone else you wanted to shout out.
No, I mean,
about Horford. I mean, I think he's going to go nuts. He's going to have a crazy game. I thought he was going to go a little more nuclear today after that incident, but still a good night though.
He's another guy who's playing well. Is just not jumping off the page, off the box score, but he's out there battling, playing hard. We need his minutes, obviously, in this series, especially with no Tatum. He jumps into the starting lineup as a power forward. But no, I mean, the only other thing really about this game is just the Magic. I do really want to give them credit. They're battling so hard. Paolo is playing even better than I really thought he could. You see how hard he's working, and he is taking over. He gets to those spots. He, like you said, he makes Drew Holiday look small at times. It's really impressive the way he's playing out there, and he's shooting better than I expect. Franz had a good game tonight. Those two guys are really good. It's just so hard, even on a night. Carter chips in, hits some shots. He felt like they upped their pace a little, played pretty well, and they still, just barely get to 100 points. So that's the thing. And I mean, obviously, that's why a team that is as good as we're seeing on defense was 500 this season, because they the offense is so tough for them to come by. So when you say like this is what they want to do, it's kind of all they can do, and I actually give them credit for how close it's been. They're finding ways to keep up somewhat offensively, where it's like with how good the Celtics are at defense. Obviously, Paolo has an off night, goes out there and shoots 7 of 25. You'd think they're going to score 75 points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing he's absolutely jumping out. What's that?
None of it's easy for him too, Paolo. He's like has to do everything. Working so much. Really impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, he's getting all the attention, and it's like a situation like where he's still, able to get so much. Again, I think a lot of it is like you said. Some of these looks I'm willing to live with. A lot of the looks actually are taken today I was willing to live with.
Yeah.
But yeah, 32, 9, and 7. He had 2 blocks too. He was I don't know. He's a stud, and I don't really know. You know, they have to get kind of someone else in there to sort of be running the offense, and he can sort of be the beneficiary of that. But exactly. we'll save our Magic like talk for the end of the series. But he's good though. So yeah, that is worth mentioning. The kind of night that he had, because he seems like the real deal.
Impressive to come into the Garden for 2 games like that.
And his size too, makes it like where it's like he could actually be, it's not just kind of like, oh, look at this guy, he's kind of a cool, good guy. Like he actually could be a stud in the right setup.
And it feels like his game is perfectly suited for the playoffs. When it slows down, you can just throw it to him, and he's just so big. It feels like he can get those shots in the playoffs. Where it's that situation where it's like last minute of a fucking intense game, no one gets anything. He can just get to the elbow, pull up, and hit that jump shot. Like, it's so impressive for him to do it. Just his 3rd year. He's still like 21, 22 years old. It's crazy. Sky's the limit. So hopefully not for a few more years, but you can see it.
Not this series. Settle down, youngster. All right. The only other couple things I had, like unrelated to the game, was I've noticed they had the new owner sitting next to Wick during the games. First of all, shout out Wick too. Right out at halftime, all the like rich fancy people's seats were empty, and Wick was just at his seat by himself. Kind of a legend move by the owner. Shortly after that, he was joined by the new owner, and I don't know if you could see him in the background of some of those plays. Like he was almost like slapping.
He was getting fired up.
Yeah, he was getting super into it. Which again,
gotta love.
Seems a good thing. They weren't like making a thing out of it, so it seemed like a little more authentic. It wasn't like NBC was being like, check out the new owner, how into it he is. Like, it felt authentic. Like he was kind of edge of his seat. obviously that's just a good sign. That's all really. There's not a whole lot on that, but
Awesome.
it was good to see.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, you got anything else in the game, or should we give out our Chuddy Chains for this one?
I don't know if you want to mention it around the league or now, but Payton Pritchard, 6th man of the year.
Yeah, let's just do it now. I figure we probably talk about it, but I think there's enough games to break down around the NBA. So yeah, Payton Pritchard, I think, we've sort of talked about as a foregone conclusion for a little while, but it was good to see him finally win it. The video of him seeing himself win it was absolutely hilarious. You could tell that he already felt pretty confident about winning it. He just kind of like, they announced his name, he just kind of stood up and was just like clapped like twice. It was just like, all right, and just like hugged everyone around him. Pretty business-like win. But yeah, I mean, great. There's not often do we quote Charles Barkley for his actual kind of like knowledge on like the ball side of things, but I thought that he had a great sort of quote, and I'll sort of say it, not exactly how he said it, but is a guy that wasn't really like highly touted, wasn't really highly recruited, wasn't thought to be this like big name. I think I saw that he was like the 11th best point guard in his draft class, and everything that he is now, everywhere he is now, is like a testament to the work that he put in. So none of it's like by accident. So it's that's such a cool award to win too, where it's just like he's never going to get like an MVP, or anything like that. But it's like he's stuck with this team as a team he kind of wanted out of a little while ago, stuck with it, and yeah, just like kind of a great thing to see. I'm trying to see the list. I saw the list earlier of like all the players that he was that were like in that same list of like he was like the 11th point guard. Oh, yeah. So it was Lonzo Ball, Frank Jackson, De'Aaron Fox, Dennis Smith Jr., Ty Jerome, Tariq Gilbert, Cassius Winston, Marcus Howard, J.J. Caldwell, T.J. Gibbs, and then Payton Pritchard. So I'd say like in that group, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, obviously. Lonzo is maybe a more known name. I don't even know if I'd call his like career accolades like much better. Ty Jerome wasn't the guy that almost won 6-man too, was kind of competing with him for 6-man. I mean, I don't know.
When was that list? Was that out of high school?
That was he was the number 11 point guard in the 2016 high school class.
Right. Okay. Because some of Cassius Winston, Marcus Howard were obviously great college players, but so it's a little different. Frank Jackson too. I mean, national champion. So found it hard to judge.
I knew that you would know more of those names than me, but
no, but I mean, still, obviously, end of 30th pick or whatever in the draft, wasn't in the rotation like you said, and now truly is. And to see him doing it, I think is even cooler in these playoff games. I know it's only been 2, but that was kind of the question with him, where it's like, is he just kind of our regular season innings eater who can go in there? I was worried in a series like this, where it's this physical and they're this big, like, is this going to be trouble time for Payton Pritchard once things slow down and he kind of can't do the same thing? So far, so good. He's been awesome in this series. One of our best players.
33 minutes tonight.
Yeah, and he's getting it done on both ends of the court. So that is, to me, as awesome as anything. And I also, it's just so crazy. Obviously I don't have the list in front of me. I don't want to go through all history, but how many guys have won the 6-man award where they're just very clearly not the team's best bench player or one of their best 6 players? Like, it's pretty much always goes to a guy who's basically like a starter. They just come off the bench. Obviously, Kevin McHale is like the team's second best player. He's coming in. Ginobili.
Yeah, that's crazy. He won it twice.
Even Beasley this year, you look at like he's the Pistons' second or third best player. He just comes off the bench. It's usually more of like a strategic thing. Where it's like Pritchard is as true of a bench guy as there is. And, when games matter, he's not even our main guy off the bench. Sometimes he's not even our second guy off the bench. So pretty crazy. What a contract. Brad Stevens. Genius.
But that's always, but I'm glad he got that nice Converse deal because the man deserves to get paid.
Hell yeah.
So absolutely. Shout out to Payton Pritchard. And again, to kind of go again and echo what Barkley said, he just worked for it. I'll never forget just reading that article about how he would just pay his guys 3 different sized people to play him, to stop him. And the more they stop him, the more he pays them. It's like you create the ultimate motivation, system there for everybody, for him and them.
What a gig.
And I don't know. It was just great. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a sick gig. Although I'd make absolutely no money, but
it wouldn't be lucrative. It'd be fun.
It would be, but to me, it's like, okay, so I make 0 money, but I get to play ball with Pritchard for an hour, probably 10 minutes before he's like, dude, you lied on your resume. You're out of here. But
we'd be getting way more out of him.
He's like, we looked you up. You didn't actually play college ball anywhere. You didn't even play high school basketball. Well, anyway, it would be fun though. It would be worth the investment in gas money at least.
Very.
All right. let's give out our Chuddy Chains here. Shout out to Payton Pritchard. What is this here? Why did I pull this up? I'm seeing a snapshot of myself here. All right, here we go. Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Mario's Roofing. Roofing, Mario's. Siding, Mario's. Windows, Mario's. You just got to call Mario's. At Mario's, we pride ourselves on quality, safety, and value. We wouldn't do anything to your home that we wouldn't also do to our own. Call Mario's today. You can ask them about their spring specials. Mention Chuddy's Corner. Tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you, and you can get $50 off your installation. Some restrictions do apply. To get the ball rolling, you just got to call 781-344-2420, or you can visit mariosroofing.com. That's Mario's Roofing. We won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. All right, Chuddy Chains. I took first on game 1. You can take first for game 2. Who do you got?
Got to give it to Porzingis. I mean, he obviously had the Chuddy Chain moment, but like we said, it was really the whole game, the way he played. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 10 rebounds for him, going to the line, more than double-digit free throws. Like, he just put in the work, and we talked about it game 1. Certainly not his kind of series. We know this is definitely not the way he wants to play, but to see him doing it anyway, doing the dirty work, all those little things, even on a night where he didn't have a great shooting night, to make a massive, massive impact on both ends. That's what you want to see. And the stitches, I'm watching him in the interview right now, just looks like Frankenstein yet again. It's great to see.
Absolutely smashed up.
Yeah.
2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 for Porzingis tonight too. So
yeah,
you're right. He was everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna give mine. I think to the start tonight. I think Jaylen kind of earned Chuddy Chain tonight. Again, he had the massive night. No Tatum tonight. He knew he had to step up, and I think the points obviously 36, 10, 5 was the stat line. But like you said, he was doing it kind of gritty. He was doing it dirty. Only finished the night. It doesn't say here. It's like his free throws. So he shot 8 free throws, 7 of those over the free throw line. But like you said, he was kind of everywhere when the game called for being physical, the game called for getting down in the mud. He was there for it. So yeah, I think kind of putting the team on his back there a little bit. I think there was a lot of people without Tatum in thought what would go on here. I had no worries at all, but it was good to see Jaylen step up. But yeah, so that's a Chuddy Chains tonight. We have Porzingis. Yeah, obviously, anytime you see blood, that's why I was like, all right, if he doesn't choose Porzingis, it's going to be weird for me, but I'll pick Porzingis. All right, well, why don't we go ahead and hear another word from our other sponsor, and then we'll get into some around the NBA. We'll break down some of those series that have already gone on. As we're recording now, we got Houston and Golden State going on. We'll get a little update on that. Go ahead.
So Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Nick Perino Real Estate, our original sponsor dating back to the infant days of Chuddy's Corner. He was helping us get going, helping us keep the lights on. Just a true passion project for Nick, obsessed with the Celtics, obsessed with Chuddy's Corner, wanted to see us succeed, wanted to be able to get those game recaps because he's a diehard Celtics fan. That's the kind of guy you want to work with. And he's just as passionate about real estate, whether you're buying, selling, whatever you need. You're going to want to talk to Nick. He will walk you through every part of the process, put you in the right hands, make you feel safe, make it, he's very trustworthy, very easy to work with, and you can shoot the shit about the Celtics and Chuddy's Corner with him throughout the process. So can't really go wrong there. You want to go to nickperino.com, nickperino.com. Like I said, anything you need in the world of real estate, you will find there with our good friend Nick. Shout out to Nick. He was in the corporate suite tonight. He was in attendance for game 2. Said the place. Oh yeah, he was there tonight.
Wow,
This was absolutely lit. So good for Nick. Shout out Nick. That's why, like I say, some of these sponsors, official sponsor, this, that, the other, they don't really care. It just sounds good. Nick is the real deal. He supports the show because he is a true diehard, and that's why he is the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. And again, I mean, like you said, he just wanted authentic Celtics takes. That's why he's just sponsoring the show. That's what we can do for him. And it's something worth noting when you're doing a real estate transaction. Sometimes you have to have those kind of fake conversations. Oh, I heard you're a Celtics fan. Blah, 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 blah. Nick, it'll be the real deal, and you can keep talking to him even after the deal's done. So if you like the Celtics and just want to have a guy to talk Celtics with, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a little bit around the NBA. I mean, do you have any like news stories, or are we thinking just kind of break down some of the games? I don't know if there was. I think actually we should talk a little bit about Anthony Edwards, the not the game related thing. with the shit with the fan. Did he actually get fined, or did I get sent out on that?
No, yeah, he got fined. That was a Shams.
He got fined. Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, he was kind of interacting with a Lakers fan. At first, they were just talking about how much money he had. He's like, I got $200 million. It kind of was just, which I think is always kind of like a lame chirp, but it was a regular, normal chirp. Game's about to get back underway. Out of nowhere, he just grabs his crotch and says, like, and I got a bigger dick than you. Like, totally escalates the situation for no need. What was the fine amount?
$50K, I believe.
Oh, that's nothing.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, that's like my salary, but yeah, for him, that's nothing.
Nothing. Chump change.
Yeah, to me, this is hilarious. I mean, I know that he's not a great role model. He's not a great, like, personal life thing. All the stuff with the women we talked about on the show before. We've covered it. This was funny. That was just objectively no need to escalate it to that point. Like, unless I didn't hear what the fan said, he just throws in right as the game's about to start back up, and I got a bigger dick. No need. But funny nonetheless.
Funny nonetheless.
Yeah.
But I guess we can start right there with that series.
You got no comment on that? I mean, what else can you say that I didn't already say, I guess?
Yeah, nothing really to add to that. It's just a funny moment if you haven't seen it. It's real, and there's solid video of it, so go check it out for a good laugh. But I mean, again, we talked about other stuff that is a little more serious. This to me is harmless. Pay the fine, move on.
It was fun.
Just funny. Yeah, I'm fine. Obviously, like, not painting him in a bad light. It's just funny. All
right. But we go into that game. It's a lot of order about going that game. Go to that game.
Game 2 for the Timberwolves. I think you had to see this one coming. Obviously, Lakers lost game 1 at home. Game 2, pretty much a must-win for the Timberwolves. They're kind of already playing with house money. They got the one on the road. And the Timberwolves battled. They made it more of a game, but we talked about Edwards, how much he kind of dominated the first game. Lakers switched up their coverages. They're almost kind of zoning him, keeping him, like, boxed up. He had no assists in the second game. We talked about how good of a game he had with the 9 assists and 1 turnover in game 1. No assists in this one. The role players, Nasri, Jaden McDaniels, those guys did not shoot nearly as well, so they came back to earth a bit. The Lakers, LeBron played a lot better. Reeves played better. Luka had another really good game, but the Timberwolves did not go away. They kept fighting. They made it interesting. So, I still kind of came away feeling pretty good about Minnesota in a game where, you thought this was a kitchen sink game for the Lakers. Their season's basically over if they go down 0-2 heading on the road. So, you knew you were going to see their best punch. You saw a good punch from them, and I think you saw, why it's silly to overreact to one game. The same as overreacting to game 1 would be like overreacting to game 2. 1-1 going back on the road. Lakers got to steal one. I still think this is going to be a really long series about, which guys will kind of step it up. I think Ant's got to figure out these coverages, come back, play better. I expect them to do so at home. I'm sure that arena will be crazy. And again, they've done a pretty good job making the Lakers pretty Luka-centric, where, again, LeBron had a good game, and he was very active, did a lot, but didn't go crazy on offense, didn't make a ton of shots. So, really fun series. And again, if the T-Wolves can get more out of their role guys and get a better game from Ant, as he was not great in game 2, I still think they're in pretty good shape. I'm feeling better about them than I was going into the series, even after the loss.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, you get once you steal one, you're already playing with house money. I do think that the Lakers, they had to come out, they had to build better. But if you look at this game in the fourth quarter, the Timberwolves outscored them 20-13. They outscored them in the second quarter too. It was a big first quarter for the Lakers. They kind of put them up a lot early, and I think the Timberwolves could never really dig out of that early lead. But it was a pretty close game if you count in just the second, third, and fourth quarter. So I do think that's going to be a good series. I'm excited for that getting back to Minnesota. So that'll be a pretty good one.
Great series.
Let's go. So we'll go back. That was on Tuesday. We're going to talk about the Monday games. Do you want to start with the Clippers Nuggets, or do you want to go Pistons Knicks? Both great games on Monday.
Both
Monday was great night for
both great games.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we can just go in chronological order. The Knicks Pistons happened first. Played out very similarly to the first game. Honestly, this time the Pistons were just able to hold on in the fourth quarter. They got this one home. Cade, brutal debut, but he was awesome in game 2. But Tobias had another really good game. Malik Beasley still cannot do shit for them. Brunson, as usual, left the game, came back, was making all kinds of crazy big shots. Cat, absolutely disappearing.
Whoa.
What?
He was also just being the most unethical basketball player in the fourth quarter of all time.
I mean, yeah, but that's...
Were you planning on getting to that?
I mean, that's just how he plays. I didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary. That's what he does every game.
This felt a little egregious. Some of these ones felt a little egregious.
I mean, I feel like that's just how he plays every single game.
Well, it is how he plays, but you said he was making a bunch of big shots from what, the free throw line?
No, he made a ton of big shots. I mean, this again, the Knicks walked this game all the way back. It was a 13-point game. They got it back to tie. Dennis Schroeder, shouts out to him, 20 points, made the biggest shot of the night, hit that game-winning three.
Crazy.
Saved the Pistons because this was very close to an exact repeat where the Pistons played great for 3 quarters and then just could not hold the rope when things get tough. They can't find buckets. Like I said, Cat was a lot better. Malik Beasley, we talked about how good he was all season. He cannot fucking buy a shot in this series. Kept getting wide open look after wide open look. That would have been a dagger. Couldn't hit one to save his life. It's fun to watch how hard the Pistons are scrapping, and it's sad to watch how the Knicks, I mean, they made their offense too Brunson-centric, and he is really good, but it's just crazy. You saw how good Anunoby was when he's out. He basically disappears. Mikal Bridges, they're not even playing. Towns didn't have an attempt in the fourth quarter. Like I said, didn't score in the second half. That's just, you can't have that happen. That's a guy who's probably going to make All-NBA, maybe even second team. You're hurting you're hurting yourselves and making it easier to guard you when you've got a guy like Oscar Thompson who, get fouled out in 21 minutes because of Brunson's antics, but he makes him work his ass off. He's playing him really hard. Cade did a decent job defending him. Schroeder's all up in him. You know how he's going to make him work. So this is super fun to watch. It still, to me, is like, I just don't get how the Pistons are able to get enough offense to get to the finish line. Well, yeah.
Because the Knicks suck, dude. They're frauds.
I mean, I'm not... Well, yeah, I still think they'll...
But, like, the Knicks should be down 2-0.
Yeah, but they also should be up 2-0. Like, it's both ways, I guess. We'll see. I mean, I hope that the Pistons can keep doing it. It's absolutely awesome and hilarious to watch, so I'm glad.
I'm trying to tell you, brother, the fucking Knicks are frauds.
I never argued with that. I thought they would win this series. I still think they probably will, but yeah, I don't think... Frauds implies that they're, like, anyone thinks they're something that they're not. I think everyone knows exactly.
I think a lot of people, you thought that they were something they're not. You thought they were going to crush the Pistons.
Then they still might. The Pistons won a game. Congrats. I think we've been pretty consistent from the opening night of the goddamn regular season, saying the Pistons are the Knicks are a very nice team. They have no chance of beating the teams that are better than them. That's been true all year long. I don't think anyone disagrees. Like, I think it's unfair to frauds to call them a fraud, because a fraud implies that there are people who think they're a contender. They are what they are. They're a solid middle of the pack Eastern Conference playoff team.
They're mid.
That's it. They're not frauds. That's just what they are.
All right, fair enough.
That's where I look at it. I still think they'll probably win this series. Hope I'm wrong. Again, that would just be absolutely hilarious. And if they lose this series, it's just going to be so funny. Their fans are going to... they're already starting to go pull back. Why did we trade DiVincenzo? We were better last year. All this shit.
They're the worst. They win game 1. They're going nuts in the fucking the outside the garden. All right. That series picks back up tomorrow night.
Yep. Can't wait.
Next game, Clippers Nuggets. Another freaking close game, 105-102. Yep. This game was... Again, this series is going to be awesome, but I think Kawhi is kind of the story of this game. He's looking... very, very good. If he was healthy, he could be an all-time player when he plays like this. Yeah. If he is healthy like this for the playoffs, to me, that changes like the whole West dynamic, because he's already shown that he can just be an assassin killer. Like, I'm just going to come in and just will a team to a championship. So I do have a Clippers to win the Western Conference future. Feeling good about that. What do you think? Is Kawhi back? Is he bad man back?
I mean, I've been whispering about it all year long. I don't want to jinx it, but I mean,
I didn't want to believe it.
That was vintage Kawhi. 39 points. What did he shoot? 17 of 20 or something absolutely outrageous.
He was 15 of 19, 17 points, or 39 points. I'm sorry.
Absolutely ridiculous. And to watch him, like you just talked about, Brunson, who's the most unethical hooper in the game. There's not even a word for how ethical of hoops Kawhi is.
So ethical.
Like, there's no pick and rolls. There's not even moves. It's just dribbling to a swap, pulling up, and just making jumpers in your face all night long. It's so fucking impressive.
Brutal.
And 15 of 19 on that shot diet is just it's absolutely ridiculous. And there's literally nothing you can do when that's happening. I mean, even Nuggets fans, I think, have to just sit there and be like, wow, this guy's fucking amazing. How is he doing this? Really cool to watch.
His shot chart is so ridiculous. It's like...
It's crazy.
It's like this is like a relic of like an earlier era of basketball.
Yeah,
just looking at a shot clock.
It really is, and it just honestly, it almost makes you sad that we've been robbed of years of how it's easy to forget how just unreal he is when he plays, and it's basically whenever he plays in the playoffs, this is how good he is. And like
It's
we
just
just
not
haven't
awesome
seen it
that he
in
does
so
it.
long. But this was the first year he finally stopped doing his sketchy Uncle Dennis shit on the side, leaving to do all this weird treatment, not communicating with the team. He bought
What's
in.
Uncle
They
Dennis?
convinced him. What?
What's Uncle Dennis mean?
His guy, Uncle Dennis, who's been his like agent, who makes all the decisions. The guy who's always been.
Oh, he broke free.
The guy, well, I'm sure he's still with him, but he's like bought it. He's doing it with the team. He's training at the facility. He believed in them. You can look at him. He's skinnier. He's like a different body type, and he's credited that. He's like, damn, this worked. I'm healthy as shit. Again, like you said,
If he's healthy as shit, changes everything in the West.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And I mean, what an awesome series. What an awesome game. And another one, the first one, it felt like the Nuggets kind of stole it at the end and the Clippers outplayed them. This one was the opposite. The Nuggets had it most of the night. A few really, really bad plays down the stretch. Adelman, I don't know what you're supposed to do, but with that bench, it's the second game in a row. He's basically playing 6 guys. He did not take Jokic, I don't think, or Murray off the court in the second half. That's crazy. You can't run these like final Game 7 lineups every game of the playoffs. Even if they do somehow win the series, they're going to be absolutely dead. I think you even saw it at the end of last night. The Nuggets are usually probably the most clutch, reliable team in crunch time. Like, they're just automatic. Jokic had 7 turnovers. You saw him throw away an uncharacteristic shot pass. He's missing free throws. I think he's tired. Zubac's a really good defender. He's making him work hard. He's not coming off the court, and they basically need him to do everything on offense. He's going through those 2 guys. Like, it's just, I just don't know how it's sustainable, and it feels like the Clippers are just going to wear them down if it keeps going like this. So, like, he tried to go to the bench. He played DeAndre Jordan 4 minutes. That's not going to work, and it's just like they don't really have any options, but they're going to have to try something because I don't think you can survive this way for much longer. Crazy stuff.
Especially if Kawhi's back.
Yeah, I mean, Game 1 it was Harden, and Game 2 it was Kawhi. Again, I just
and we haven't had the Shams tweet about getting his knee drained or anything, so we're still in the clear so far as of 11 p.m. on Wednesday, April 23rd.
Yeah, and back to the Intuit Dome first game there tomorrow, so that's gonna be lit.
Kawhi being perfectly healthy was like in the West. That's like, remember the scene in The Wire where Proposition Joe finds out that like Brother Mazzone is like in the projects. He's like, Brother Mazzone? He's like, it's like that changes like everything. It's like, whoa, hold on, he's back. So if Kawhi is healthy, that's like Brother Mazzone just got dropped into the Western Conference Finals, and it's like, anybody's liable to get fucked up. I mean, maybe SGA can be a little Omar Little. I don't think he's got Omar Little in him though.
That would be the matchup round. So
yeah, ooh, that'd be a great matchup.
Still a lot of series left. I'm not right now.
Yeah. Can't count out the Nuggets. Exactly, can't count out the Nuggets. But to me, a healthy Kawhi changes everything. And that comes from me, who's been, I wouldn't say Kawhi hater, but just kind of like, here's what it is. Like, when he's healthy, if he was healthy his whole career, he might have been one of the greatest of all time. Like, he might be in that category because of what he can do, but hasn't been that. So maybe he's not that.
50 anyway.
We haven't seen him not do it only because he's unhealthy. It's never like he's been healthy and played bad.
He never has.
It's like he's either hurt. Yeah, he's either hurt or like leading his team to a championship. So he's Brother Mazzone. He's in the house. All right. All right. We got a couple other games. We're going. We got Pacers, Bucks. Pacers got 123-115 win over the Bucks. I think the Bucks just might be a little bit overmatched. Obviously, it goes the game series doesn't start till the home team loses, so the Bucks, could go back. Yep. We're looking at a 2-1 series. Whatever this game, I think picks up again tomorrow as well. No. This game, I'm sorry, isn't until Friday. Halliburton is actually like, I don't know. He got voted the most overrated by the players, so I feel like ever since that. See, no, I don't think it's crazy.
I think it's insane. Halliburton.
He did play well. He did play well.
He's awesome. He's really fucking good. Other than when he was hurt, he's amazing. He's one of the 10 probably best players in the league. You watch him play.
10?
10 to 15, I would say. He's unreal.
Okay, 10 to 15 is different, but 21, 5, and 12.
He's underrated, if anything, I would say. To say most
I think people were salty about that All-Star game pick. Industry plant.
That's crazy. It was well deserved, and look at that team. They're legit. They're still underrated too, and he's obviously the best player. Dame came back. Credit to him. Cool to see, but he did not look great. He looked like a guy who hasn't played in a month. I think he only shot like 3 of 11, 2 of 8 from 3. Just getting back into playing shape. Unfortunately, the team doesn't really have time for him to do that. They need him to be elite Dame right away to have a chance.
Need you there, bud.
And I just don't think that's going to happen. Another great Giannis game. I saw stat over his last 6 playoff games, he's averaging 35 points, 17 rebounds, and they're 0-6. So you got to think he's getting a little restless there in Milwaukee. Doc is just such a bad coach. He's getting coach laps around him by Carlisle in this series. It's a bad mismatch, and you're seeing there are some lineups that work for the Bucks. Doc still just has no clue what they are. He doesn't understand which guys he can't play, and he's just so stubbornly, like, he's not adjusting. He's just playing the same guys. He keeps playing the same starting group with, Prince, Kuzma, Lopez, and that group's just getting slaughtered. They can't play in the series.
I mean, obviously, like, just look at, like, just like crazy the names you just list, and it's like, how does Doc not know?
But it's like when he goes to the bench, he's gotten good minutes from Gary Trent Jr., from AJ Green, even from Bobby Portis. He needs that extra athleticism. He needs that shooting. I think I saw that when, like, the lineup I just mentioned is on the court, they're minus whatever. When those guys aren't on the court, it's only Pacers by 4. It's basically been an even series, except when he plays those guys. And I guarantee you he's going to trot out the same starting lineup.
I was going to say, and that'll probably be at least the most minutes.
They almost came, they cut it to 2, 115-113 on a 13-0 run. But
it did get close towards the end, but then...
But again, this thing comes back to the same thing as me. The Bucks just do not have the personnel to stop the Pacers. The Pacers can crack them off the dribble, get into the lane, whatever they want. They can take it to the basket. They can kick out for threes. Even when they're not scoring, they're getting great looks. That's just not changing. So it's like, really, for the Bucks to win, they're just going to have to have a Herculean effort on offense. And again, with Doc coaching and Dame looking like a shell of himself, I just don't see how it happens. So again, Giannis is so good. Maybe they get one at home, but as I've been saying since before the series started, I think it's... I think I said in our preview, I thought the line was disrespectful. The Pacers should have been favored by a lot more, even with a healthy team. I think they're undervalued and underrated, and they're just a much better team, and this is just a brutal matchup for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I do think that the Pacers, people are still definitely sleeping on the Pacers. I think this is, I don't see how the Bucks can come back, for most of the reasons that you just said, specifically their head coach.
And one other thing, too, before we move on from that, is that I think a lot of people, too, when they're picking that, just gravitate towards, like, maybe not following the NBA that closely, look at the matchups, and they're like you just said, Halliburton, the best players, maybe a top 15 guy. Giannis is maybe the best player in the league, and it's like, I feel like that old cliche about, like, it's hard to win when you don't have the best player in the series has kind of changed with the new NBA and CBA, and you see all these teams that have the best player and not much else. And look at, like, the Nuggets and the Bucks, kind of similar situations where they've gone so top-heavy and they've just done a shitty job building around them. And you look around now, and it's like, does the best player usually even win, like, the series? Like, it's definitely not what it used to be.
No, yeah, that's a fair point. There's definitely a shift away from it just being so cut and dry. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of other teams that just, man, it makes you thankful to be a Celtics fan when you look at what we have built around our players.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in that regard, it's almost flipped, where it's not even like the best guy wins. It's like the team with the fewest shitty guys wins, because it's like, everyone has really good players, but if you can just play good players and no shitty players, that's a huge advantage. Where some of these teams,
because
like
the mismatch, the way people hunt mismatches now in the NBA, it's just like, if you have a guy who can't play, you used to be able to have a guy out there that can now play defense, but now the way people space and all that shit, it's like you just can't do that. Guys just get put out there bad. So you're right, it is kind of like who can have like the least shitty players or like the most decent players.
The Bucks at the end of the day, even if Doc coaches his ass off, he's gonna have to play 2 or 3 guys that just suck.
Yeah, that's not a lot you can do about that.
That's tough. So,
all right. Last matchup to talk about. We have the Thunders crush the Grizzlies again. I was listening to another podcast, Part of My Take. They had an idea that I don't hate. If you win game 1 of a series by 50 more, series is over.
Yeah.
This series is over, so.
Yeah, I mean, the series is over. Memphis fought. Game 2 was closer, but it's just such a mismatch. The Thunder, they're just so good. So dominant.
Yeah.
Jay hasn't even really had a good game. He's actually had 2 of his shittier games of the season in the series. Doesn't matter at all.
No.
Huge mismatch. Hopefully the Grizzlies can steal one at home, but not likely. I think the story sets up to be, what do the Grizzlies do from here? Because I think they've kind of maybe reached their cap with this iteration of this team, and I'm not really sure where they're going. They've just been passed by. They were the hot young team in the West, and now they've already been passed by all these other teams, and it seems like there's no real path to catching up when you watch them play this Thunder team right now. So yeah, it's tough. That one's a rout, but not much else to talk about basketball wise. Just a mismatch across the board.
Yep. All right. I mean, the other two, I feel like these two series might just end up kind of getting the shaft by us because their games are always kind of taking place around the time of ours. Obviously, the Cavs went up 2-0 against the Heat. That's another series that it's just like, to me, there's just no real draw to that. I do think that if we're going to spend time talking about a series, we should talk about just the Magic, or just the Rockets, Rockets Warriors series.
Do want to say
Warriors.
that the Heat did. I mean, this was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. It was going back and forth for a while. The Cavs had to work. Donovan Mitchell made
To me, that was like the death gurgle, though. That was like, I don't know.
No, I mean, obviously, but I think it is interesting how hard, different teams have to work, where we kind of talked about it with the Celtics. Like, it's nice that they're getting tested. I think the Cavs are kind of getting tested, too, just by playing a team with a lot of playoff experience, a coach like Spo. Not the most talented team, but, and then it's...
Yeah, you're right. That's it's a nice little tune-up for them, too.
It's something, yeah. It's not...
All right.
Sweep them, that'd be, I think, a nice little showing for them.
All right, Warriors, Rockets, game one, we knew each made a bold prediction. I think mine was that the Rockets are going to crush, or that Steph Curry's going to score like nothing. That might not come true at all. He had a great game in game one. Warriors won that first game by 10. They trail by 14 now at the half. Again, we're kind of in that situation where it's like, if we tell you what we think is going to be going on in this series, you're going to already know what happened by the time you listen to this, most likely.
So, I mean, the story here, obviously, Jimmy Butler, hard fall after contesting that Amen Thompson shot. He goes down, drills his fucking hip. Was quickly ruled out of the game with a pelvis injury. He won't return. So that's the story to watch going forward, obviously.
Okay.
The Rockets, I mean, I don't want to say I saw this coming, but I think game one was a classic, like, team with a bunch of their guys in their first playoff action, a little too juiced up for the moment. Didn't play well. I think you obviously thought they'd settle down. A lot like kind of what we talked about with that Lakers series. Rockets can't possibly afford to go down 0-2 at home. You knew they were going to come out, play better tonight. They look a lot better. I think they're just playing their game more. They were letting the playoff setting affect them too much, trying too hard, not just taking what's there. Tonight they're looking a lot better. 60 points in the first half for they scored 85 in game one. They just did not look like they could score in the half court at all. They're leaning into what works for them today. They're playing a lot faster, a lot more pace. Naturally, more shots are falling. The defense has still been there. They're fighting. There's already been a couple skirmishes with some guys. I'm sure that's only going to ramp up. And then, we'll obviously see what happens with Jimmy. Hopefully the Rockets can hold on, win this game 1-1, send it back to Golden State. Another series that I think we both think should be an absolute classic.
Yep. I definitely would want that. I want this series to go long, and hopefully Jimmy's all right too, because he is part of it. As much as we're not Jimmy Butler fans, we want to see all the teams performing at their
for sure.
highest potential.
For sure.
Also, I just had something I can't remember what I was going to say. This is about the Celtics. Do you see? We're done with around the NBA stuff, right? This is just total aside. We can close on this. Do you see McLovin on the jumbotron? He's like jacked.
Yeah,
jacked.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Good for him. Yeah, just love to see that. I know he's huge. I know he's always had the seats kind of behind the bench. But yeah, kind of jacked. I mean, I'm sure he's also just like 20 years older than what we all remember him from being McLovin as. But shout him out. All right, game 3. What do you think happens, real quick? Boom.
Well, I mean,
5 points or less. No, I'm saying
big story. The Celtics next game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, again, I think the big story, which we've barely even talked about, is obviously Tatum. The fact that he missed the first playoff game of his career makes things not nothing. He was there. He looked all right. I hope this is just, get him some rest because you can afford to, and why not? Instead of letting it linger, let's just rest now. I would say, if there's any question, rest him again until they lose. Right? Why not at this point? If he's not 100%, keep resting him because we're going to need him to be 100%. I don't want him in the later rounds to be like, well, that wrist is still bothering him. So if he can sit and that thing can get back to fully healed, let's fucking do it as long as we can. At least until they win a game. So, again, I think good test going down to Orlando. I think you can expect a lot of the same. They're going to muck it up. They're going to be physical as hell. They're going to rely on, their home crowd, maybe get some home calls, whatever. But the Celtics, they're fucking road dogs. We played better on the road all year. I'm sure we're going to go into that environment. We're going to want to shut those guys up, whether Tatum's in or out. The guys I'm confident will step up. I think it'll look a lot like it's looked the first 2 series. I think it'll be messy. It'll be low scoring. It'll be physical. It won't be that beautiful Celtics basketball where it makes the highlight reels where there's 5 passes ending in a 3. You're just not going to see a lot of that. But I just like the way the Celtics are adjusting, playing the way they need to play, and taking what's there, and getting these wins out of the way. So I'd love to see it again, go up 3-0, and then that's basically all she wrote and start scouting for round 2.
All right, way more than 5 words or less. I'll give it to you in 5 words, though.
I said 5 paragraphs.
No, that's for the essay. I have you right after the episode. I'll go Magic, halftime lead, Celtics win. And I'm okay too with them resting Tatum too. Because to me it's like you kind of roll the dice on it. If we win game 3 and we're up 3-0, then you don't have to play in the rest of the series. He can just rest. If they lose and he feels good enough to come back, then it's like, okay, you can just come back, we'll go up 3-1 and then just kind of close the series. So I'm okay with rolling the dice. I think a lot of Celtics fans will panic, but that's why you listen. That's why you can come to listen to Chuddy's Corner, because we'll tell you, hey, don't worry, we're good. We got this. Nothing to worry about. So yeah, that'll be fun. We'll see everyone back here Friday. Now it's every other night for the rest of the series. So we only had that 1-2 day break. That was a long break. That was a real long break between Celtics games. But the Celtics are back. We'll see you guys back here on Friday. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Go to our YouTube page, hit subscribe on that. We're trying to get that subscribe count up. So we appreciate that. Follow us too on social media. On Twitter, we're at Chuddy's Corner. Pretty much at Chuddy's Corner across all the platforms. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok now too. I've been having a lot of fun dicking around with the TikTok stuff. Quite the app. Quite the strange app. But we're on it. Check us out there. Follow on Twitter. Follow him. He's at King Chuddy. Follow me. I'm at Doug_outs. Shout out Nick Prano Real Estate. Shout out to Mario's Roofing, the sponsors. We love you guys. We'll see everyone back here on Friday. Take care.
Peace out, Chuddy outs.